Before we get going on today's Summer Shootaround, this is my reminder that if you are a fan of a school that is not a part of our predetermined list of schools for Shootaround episodes, there are 3 separate auctions that you can bid on to get the bonus episode for our Summer Shootarounds, and those episodes will publish in September. So if you're watching on YouTube, you want to go right here, top right corner of the screen right there, hit that QR code, or we've got links in the description. If you are listening to the podcast, the auction links to the 3 separate auctions are in the description as well. They'll be in this one, they'll be in the next one, they'll be in the one after that. The deadline, this is key, is August 14th. The schools that have already been determined are St. John's, Houston, BYU, Purdue, UConn, Florida, Texas Tech, Duke, Kentucky, Louisville, Kansas, Arkansas, and North Carolina. So if you didn't hear your school mentioned and you want us to talk about it, you want to ask questions, you want to actually help produce a Summer Shootaround episode, you can be a fan of a big-time program or a mid-major in the middle of nowhere. If you bid the most, you will win, and you will get your bonus episode dedicated to your favorite school. So go to the link, rally your friends, and in about a week's time, we'll have 3 separate winners. Bid now, bid frequently, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome back into our Summer Shootaround series, where GP and I are splitting up some of the love and bringing on some knowledgeable folks from outside CBS who know the college basketball world well. Longtime listeners to this podcast, which dates back in its original form to 2010, are aware that today's guest is no newbie. Jeff Borzello has been at ESPN since 2014, and I know it's been since 2014 because when he decided to leave me and GP behind at CBS and said, see ya, I was on my delayed honeymoon with my wife in Italy. I left for that honeymoon not knowing if he was going to leave CBS, and I returned. I said, what's the deal? He let me know. I'm skedaddling there. Prior to that, though, he did work with us for more than 3 years, and in that time, we had some chats on this very pod. Since then, he's gotten married, had 2 children, tried to trick people into thinking he takes Orange Theory classes. He's taken up youth soccer coaching, tweeted way too much about the Chelsea Football Club. He's lost thousands in fantasy football, but still maintained his title as the best hair in college basketball. Welcome back, Jeff Borzello. How you doing, buddy?
Had I known you were going to hype up my hair in the intro, I would not have gotten it cut 2 days ago. I would have let it flow a little bit to show it off. But happy to be here. I feel like I'm going to speak more than you and GP let me speak when I used to appear 12 years ago, 11 years ago. So I'm fired up.
Trivia time right off the top. First of all, by the way, apologies on Borzello's audio. It's good enough, I suppose. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I think he's in some sort of like quasi dungeon. You know, blink 3 times.
The lighting keeps shifting. It keeps shifting. You said it was fine. Now it's like dark again.
No, I don't know what you got going on there, man. Do you remember the last time you were on the pod? This pod? Borzello's hopped on. I do the College Sports Now stuff, Moonlight that, and Borzello always makes an annual appearance, and that's always a fun one with me, him, and Steve.
Do you remember? So the last time I probably said a word on this pod was you were recording with GP at some sort of Final Four, maybe yep. Phoenix.
Yeah, bada bing, 2017. Do we know why we were doing that podcast?
I mean, I don't think I was expected to be on.
No, you were in the room with me.
Yeah, I want to say yammering about something. I was like, I'm just gonna hop on. You were talking about something specific.
It could have been Final Four, but I want to say Ewing got hired at Georgetown, and that was the impetus for that show. But I can't remember exactly. But yeah, that's a good.
I want to say no. He got hired.
I definitely 100% wrote about Ewing being hired at Georgetown when I was in Phoenix at the Final Four. That definitely happened.
I don't know if I buy that. I think I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure I was at the Garden for the regional when he got hired.
Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the date on this right now. You're making me do this right now. Don't worry, we're gonna get to Texas Tech. We got plenty. You know
what I remember about the Ewing hire? Goodman's Sports Center appearance. You have to remember that. You do, right? Yeah. So
how I wish we had that, that bit. Here we go. Patrick, here we go. April 3rd, 2017. Patrick Ewing is Georgetown's biggest name, but it'll take more than that to win. I filed this in Arizona. I remember that. If he got maybe he got hired like a day before, 2 days before, but I definitely filed that. in Arizona.
Maybe.
Anyway, that's the last time.
Really wish we had the Goodman footage. That was incredible.
Oh my God, the Goodman. Yeah, that is folks, that is a long running inside joke that we don't need to get too much into, but yes, that is.
Your entire pod is inside jokes.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, it's great to have you back. Fanta, Doster, Evan Miyakawa, they all went to GP. You're stuck with me, but I think we remember how to do this. Let's dive into Texas Tech and get this going here. Grant McCaslin, 51-20 in 2 seasons, Borzello. He's been a solid hire immediately. I think Tech has objectively become a top 15 program in the big picture since he got there, exceeded expectations. And I think Tech's poised to stay in that layer, if you will, in year 3. We'll get to where you think about Tech after we get to the break. But let's look at last season and kind of just really quickly retrace what the Red Raiders did. They were a 28-9 team. They got a 3 seed. They lost in the Elite 8. Tech had the most melodramatic second weekend, I think, of any team in the tournament. In the Sweet 16, the Red Raiders snatched victory from the jaws of defeat after coming back from 16 down with less than 10 minutes to go. And then they were even down 13, buddy, with 4.5 to go against Arkansas in the regional semis out in San Francisco. They ultimately won 85-83 in overtime. That was a wild game. I went back and watched the end of it. Just how they were able to pull it off. I'd say that was a top 5 game of the tournament. They only hit 8 of 32 from 3-point range in that game, but in watching and rewatching it yesterday, it felt like every single 3 they hit was absolutely crucial and kept their hopes alive. So they got past Arkansas. You and I were actually, those games happened when you and I were in Jersey for the East Regional semi.
I remember watching them on like the laptop right in front of me. Yeah.
That is correct. Yes, we were as invested in those games as we were as the ones that
we didn't have quite the close games that they had in East Rutherford.
We did not. We were not gifted with
Newark, wherever we were.
Yeah. We were in Newark. That's right. 2 days later, Tech was on the heartbreaking end of the other side of it when it botched the game late against Florida in the Elite 8, lost 84-79. Tech missed a bunch of 1-1s. It gave up an 18-4 run, mostly at the hands of Walter Clayton Jr. and Thomas Houck. But all told, I think it's been better than hoped for 2 years in. So before we look ahead, your big picture thoughts on where this program is after getting McCaslin from North Texas 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he was going to be this good, or they were going to be this good this quickly under him. I mean, he checked a lot of boxes when they hired him. High major experience as an assistant coach, grinded through the junior college ranks, successful low major, mid major coach. But he was sort of, at North Texas at least, he was sort of a slow it down, defensive minded coach. Didn't know, if he had if he was going to adjust to the Big 12. And not only has he adjusted, not that they're flying up and down the court, but they've had 2 pretty incredible offensive seasons in a row. Now he's hit on his transfers, he's hit on his freshmen, which is a testament to him. But I thought he was going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be this good this quickly. And last year, I mean, I remember going into the tournament, I thought there were 6 teams that could have made the Final Fours. The 4 ones, St. John's and Texas Tech, or that I could have picked to go to the Final Four. St. John's and Texas Tech. St. John's obviously did not work out. But I felt with like 3 minutes to go in that Florida game, I was like, you know what? I should have gone with Texas Tech. I felt pretty vindicated. And then Walter Clayton, did his thing and rewrote history, and that was that for Texas Tech. But no, I loved them last year. I think they're really good, going to be really good again. But yeah, he's done. McCaslin's done. Exceeded my expectations. He's exceeded expectations 2 years in a row at Tech, and I'm interested. I haven't thought about your top 15 program in the country take, but I do think they're pretty well positioned to be, around this range for the next few years.
I think objectively fair. They were 9th at Ken Palm last season. The season before that, they were 31st. Got a 6 seed, 23-11. Those 2 things plus, and we'll get to this in a few minutes, plus what they did in the portal and how much they spent. I think it's objectively fair to say Tech is operating as one of the 15 best programs in the country right now. In order to stay there, they're going to have to, be a 4 seed or better level team, maybe even a 3 seed or level better team this upcoming season. The preseason rankings are going to reflect that. They will almost certainly
they're already in that range where you're kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt. in terms of rebuilding a roster.
I'm saying
they're one
right
of those
now, like it could
programs.
change by mid-January.
No, I'm just saying they're one of those teams already in year 3 where you're sort of trusting what McCaslin does in the portal and what he does on the recruiting trail. And when it comes to tiebreakers, you're sort of giving them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to roster construction. And that's, they're one of the 12 to 15 programs that you're doing that right now.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. There's a lot to get to in terms of who did Tech add? How much money did this program spend? The university in general has even just a few days ago they landed the number 1 player for next year's class in football. So just Texas Tech as an entity has really stepped up and become as formidable as really almost any university from a funds standpoint as nearly any program in the country. It's been wild.
The first $1 million softball player.
They did. So we'll get into JT Toppin, Texas Tech spending, the roster upcoming, Borzello, where he has them in his offseason rankings. There's a lot to get to with Texas Tech. We'll break it all down. But first, let's take a quick break.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, before we get into the names to know who's back, who's new, all of that, let's talk about the biggest name, obviously. JT Toppin, he returns. I reported in April that Texas Tech was willing to commit minimally in the neighborhood of $4 million over the course of the upcoming season for JT Toppin. Lo and behold, it could wind up being even more than that if he gets true, genuine, bona fide NIL deals as the season goes along. And if he can live up to the hype is going to be he's going to be a preseason first-team All-American because he was a first-team All-American at CBS Sports last season. He averaged 18.2 points. Didn't even debate going into the NBA draft. Part of that was because of the money that was promised to him. He averaged 9.4 rebounds. Had some, both in the regular season and in the tournament, had some outstanding moments. He's the 4th All-American in Texas Tech history, Borzello, but he's the only one that will return to school as an All-American. So the other ones were Andre Emmett in 03-04, although he was basically a borderline All-American as a junior, but technically wasn't when he returned for a senior year and was a clear-cut All-American. You also had Keenan Evans, but he was a second or third teamer in 2018, and then Jarrett Culver the year after was a second teamer as well in 2018-19. So those are the only guys from TTU who have ever been All-Americans. Toppin is coming off the second best season by any Tech player in history. Emmett's senior season, I think, outrates what he did last season. Shot 55.4% from the field. He'll be in the mix to be preseason National Player of the Year. And again, because of that, that's why he was paid so handsomely and didn't even test the draft process. Let's flash forward to April 1, Borzello. Will JT Toppin have been one of the 5 best players in the sport for this upcoming season?
I think so. I mean, if you look at the tail end of last season, the final 2 months or so, I don't know if there was a better player outside of Cooper Flagg than him. I mean, you mentioned some of the individual games he had.
Clayton's got a case.
In the tournament, for sure.
Yeah.
But Toppin, 41-15, 32-12, 30-4. He was putting up video game numbers, double-double in all 4 tournament games. He was sensational. And I think, and we'll get to some of their additions shortly, but I think with the addition of the big man from VCU, it's going to take some of the pressure off of him defensively, and I guess free him up to reserve some of his energy for the glass and the offensive end. I don't see a world where he's not averaging close to what he did last year, and if he does, that's going to be one of the top 5 players in the country. I give the edge to Braden Smith for preseason favorite to win the Wooden Award, but Toppin to me is right there. And I think another year of this, and he's going to play himself into the first round of the NBA draft, and Tech could make a Final Four run. It could work out for everyone in terms of the money they spent to bring him back. But I do think he deserves to be in this conversation going into the year, and I think come April 1, I think he'll be right there also.
I think he's got a very good chance. I don't think it's highly probable. I wouldn't put it north of 75%. We've got some extremely talented. The top 3 picks in the draft could be coming into college basketball next season with Darren Peterson, AJ DeBanza, Cameron Boozer, in addition to returning players.
Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be the 3 best players in college.
Yes, I want to be clear about that. Doesn't, but if you told me DeBanza averaged 22 points next season, it wouldn't shock me. If you told me Boozer was a stat monster and maybe one small tick down from Flagg overall, I would believe you because Boozer was outrageously good. We'll save all the Boozer talk for a Duke episode, which will be coming soon enough in this feed. And then Darren Peterson, I mean, and we'll save this for the Kansas one, but Bill Self has multiple times on record said he's the best player I've ever recruited to Kansas. That's
Take
outrageous.
those 3, throw Braden Smith, throw Toppin. That's probably what the All-American team looks like 7 months from now.
There's a healthy chance. And there's even other players that
there's other guys.
Yeah, there's other players that are in that conversation as well. I'll be interested to see Toppin, who was obviously like something of a marked man as the season went along last season. This is going to be a whole different thing because they bring back. Okay, so here's the roster situation with Tech. Gone are Darian Williams, who had moments where I'm not saying he was Tech's MVP. He wasn't. I'm just telling you, if you follow Tech, there were definitely games and moments where he was the guy on the floor that, the ball was going to him and he was pounding it in the paint, could post up. He hit some big shots. He's gone. Chance McMillan, gone. Elijah Hawkins, gone. Kevin Overton, gone. Kerwin Galton, gone. Devin Cambridge, gone. Federico, also gone. So they're all gone. Back is Toppin, and then Christian Anderson, who's the point guard and needs to take a jump. But Toppin's going to be a seriously marked man with some pieces to be determined around him. I think your starting 5 for Tech is Anderson, Donovan Atwell, who comes over via UNC Greensboro, probably plays the 2. Lawan Watts, 6'6" small forward, average nearly 14 points, better than 6.5 boards, 4.4 assists. He played at Washington State. He's actually he's the kind of player where, okay, I want to see when he goes and plays at this level, it's going to be a step up from what he did last season. Can he be a guy that can be nearly as productive as he was a season ago? Because I think Toppin's going to need him. And then you mentioned the VCU big, although he's a lean. Lean 6'10" center type. He'll probably start. I think Tyree Bryan from Santa Clara is probably the first guy off the bench. He averaged like 10.4 points last season. That's what's around him. Before I get to the whole money part of this, because I do find it fascinating, do you think, does this look like a roster that can be top 3 in the Big 12 to you?
Yeah, I don't think it's, in terms of from a pure talent perspective, I don't think it's far off from last season. I mean, Darren Williams is better than any of the transfers coming in, but I think Lawan Watts, in terms of what a poor man's version of him would have looked like last season, I think he kind of checks some of those boxes. I mean, he's 6'6", he's physical. You could run the offense through him. He can make shots from 3. He's a little slow-footed, but he is. If you were looking for the mid-major version of what Darren Williams was, I think they sort of found the perfect replacement for him. They bring in some wing shooters. You mentioned Atwell. Bryan's coming in. And like I said, I think Bamboya down low, he's a guy. He's the leading returning shot blocker in the country. And that's not really been a thing that McCaslin's had is elite rim protection. With him and Toppin next to each other, I think he's going to have kind of paint defense like he's never had before. And they're going to be not much improved that on the floor because they've been pretty good. But I think they're really going to protect the rim better. And I think the shooters they're bringing in will allow them to stretch the floor. And you mentioned Christian Anderson. He's kind of the key to this. He didn't play the point for them last year, but he did for Germany, I guess last month in the U19 World Cup. And he was terrific. He was really good against the U.S., really good against Canada. And he showed he could play the point guard spot. And so if he's ready to take that jump, and based on what we saw a couple of weeks ago and what we saw from him toward the end of the season, I think he is. I think this team is, I don't know if I'm ready to say they're more talented than last year because I think Williams was just so good and sort of the fulcrum for what they did. But I don't think they're far off. And I think this is a team that can make this similar run they did last year.
Yeah. Hawkins was also, in terms of being a pure point guard, he was pretty talented. You beat me to the punch with Anderson.
He's a better basketball player than him.
Overall,
I think they're bigger. I think they have better. They're bigger. I think they have great shooting.
Yes.
I think they're going to be better defensively inside. I think there's going to be areas they're better, and obviously, hey, if they had lost to Arkansas by 10 last year in the Sweet 16, then I'd be pretty confident saying they're going to be better this season. But it's the tournament's a crapshoot. But I don't think that there's a huge gap between what they were last year and what they're going to be this season.
Yeah, it was outrageous just going back and watching those games. Arkansas should have beaten Tech. They just should have. They blew the game. And then Tech should have beaten Florida, so they benefit one night and then they fall prey to it 2 nights later. You beat me to the punch on Anderson, what he did last month. I thought that was a fairly critical development for Tech, and it's why I think Tech has a case to be top 10 overall. Before we get to where you've got them versus where GP has them and all that, what do we make of Texas Tech becoming just a massive force in the portal? You and I talked to a variety of sources, some coaches, some non-coaches. Borzello is, as I say this lovingly and sympathetically, he is as invested in the portal as pretty much anyone in college basketball media. I don't know how you do it, but more power to you.
I didn't know where that was going. I'm content with where it ended up.
Yeah, I love keeping you on the edge, buddy.
Yeah.
But you and I both know that once we got to, and hell, you're about to say like, I knew it 2-3 weeks before, but basically once we got to like the second week of April, the Texas Tech and how much money they're throwing around and how much they're going to be able to spend, while they haven't out, basically no school is going to come out and outright say what it's at. They're definitely north of 10 million. If you told me they were north of 14, I'd believe you, but I'm comfortable in saying that this entire roster is going to have accrued at least $12 million when all is said and done by the end of next season. And yet, even having said that, Toppin's a big name, but it's fascinating to me how they got pieces and the pieces could all add up to be a top 10 level team. But the reality is we're talking about a program that doesn't have immense amount of prestige and history in its program's history. It went to obviously the title game with Beard in 2019, and that was history making for Texas Tech. And yet they were able to, I just know this by speaking to frustrated programs that lost out on some of these players, they were able to vastly outbid a litany of programs on a number of guys. What do you make of the fact that Cody Campbell, obviously the billionaire affiliated with the program, has helped even before, revenue sharing kicked in and all that? Just I find Texas Tech's rise as a really, really big stick in college basketball, and obviously, of course, college football as well, to be one of the more intriguing developments in the sport in 2025.
Yeah, and they've become one of the sort of the boogeymen for sort of the rumored, this kid's got a $2.5 million offer from Texas Tech. Like Texas Tech, BYU, some of those schools have become sort of the, I heard this school offered him 2.5. I heard of this school offered him 3. It's Texas Tech and it's BYU, and it's some of these, I'm not going to call them nouveau rich schools. They have money, but they are the ones that are perceived to be spending spending a lot. Now, the reason I don't think, now you asked me before the show, like, do I think they're a top 3 salary cap team in college this season? The reason I would say no, I do think you're right about being in that kind of 10 to 12-ish range. I mean, you look at their roster, like you said, it's not 1 through 12. We're not talking about a loaded roster. They're really probably only paying significant money to like 6 guys. And to be north of 10 million with those, and then, the rest of the bench getting whatever they're getting, they're spending. And to get Toppin out of the NBA draft to come back, I think they're spending it pretty wisely. I do think, and they were making a real run at Ben Henschel, who withdrew from the NBA draft, was thinking about going to college. Florida was on him. Texas Tech was on him. He ended up signing with Perth for another couple of years. I don't know if I think he was having some eligibility and clearance holdups for the college game, but they were ready to spend more. But it seems like they're spending it pretty well. I don't think they're wasting money by doing what they're doing. Toppin was going to cost that to come back, and they beat out some real programs for these guys in the portal. Juan Watts was a top 50-ish transfer. You had to spend to get him. Bamboya, when he hit the portal, I didn't really think much about it. He averaged like 3 points a game at VCU. Someone smart reached out to me and was like, you should keep an eye on him. I think he's going to, you'd look smart if you ranked him in your rankings. And he ends up at Texas Tech, and he's going to be the anchor of what should be a top 10 defense in the country. Like, they're not just going after the top 20 transfers and saying, hey, here's a ton of money. I think they're finding pieces that fit and spending on guys that they think will, they're going out there looking for certain things and they're spending to find it. And, and I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't think it should be frowned upon, but I do think it's funny that they are one of those schools, like I mentioned, that is sort of the, elephant in the room when it comes to, yes, I heard this school is offering, or this player's got this offer. And it's always the, whether it's true or not, it's always sort of the similar, it's Washington, it's Texas Tech, it's BYU, it's those sort of schools.
And what Kansas State was at last year, not as much this year around, but Texas Tech still even did this a little bit last year. I did that big feature on Cedric Coward leading up to the NBA draft. And a year ago, he decided to follow his coach to Washington State. He was at Eastern Washington. David Riley got the job. He went to Washington State, and then Coward went into the portal with obviously the intention, and he ultimately did, of following Riley to Wazoo. But schools found him, and his agent told me that Texas Tech last year was offering close to $1 million to get Coward to go to Texas Tech, and he turned down hundreds of thousands
And
of dollars.
last spring, that was a big number. Not as big
It
this
was.
spring.
It was a much.
Last
That was
spring
a
was
huge.
huge
That,
number.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes, that was like that would be equivalent to this year being like 2.2, 2.4. Like that. It was a very big number last year, no doubt about it. Yeah. You've got Tech number 10 in your rankings. Hence the not that Borzello would know. Can you name one Pearl Jam song? I got Pearl Jam's 10 behind me. Can you name a single Pearl Jam song?
Probably not.
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, if you played like 3, I think I have heard this.
Can you name me the lead singer of Pearl Jam? He's probably one of the 15 most famous frontmen in American music history.
No. Can you name 5 Avicii songs?
No shot.
Can you name one member of Swedish House Mafia?
No chance.
All right, see, we're on the same page.
There we go. Eddie Vedder, by the way. Okay. This is 10.
I've heard
of Eddie Vedder. There you go.
I'm locked in.
Borzello's got Texas Tech at 10 in his rankings. Here are his top 10. Purdue 1, Florida 2, Houston 3, UConn 4, St. John's 5, BYU 6, Louisville 7, Michigan 8, Kentucky 9, Texas Tech 10. I think you vacillate a little bit on what's up?
Pretty incredible ranking.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. I know you vacillate a little bit on Texas Tech, what to do with them. So
yeah, I did.
Does that mean you were willing to go as high as 6 or 7? GP's got him at 7, which is why Tech is the 7th show in order of our shoot around. You've got them at 10. Are you maybe even putting them a little bit higher than you like? What are your thoughts, big picture, on why you've got them where you got them?
So the night of the title game, when everyone puts out their first iteration of these rankings, I had them 22. The next edition, like 2 weeks later, after Toppin came back, they added Watts, Atwell, Bryan. I think I got a little too excited. They were really active in the early portal side. I moved them up to 3. It was aggressive. So
aggressive to say the least.
Yeah. So over the next couple of updates, even though they didn't really do anything to like get past, yeah. So over the next few updates, over the next couple of months, I sort of dropped them a spot or 2 every week and settled on 9. Like once the dust settled, once everyone's roster was set, I feel good about putting them at 10. I feel good about it. I mean, I think Toppin and Anderson are going to be one of the best 1-2 combos in the country. I trust McCaslin. I do like the way the pieces fit. I kind of worry about their depth. Although they got a Jalen Petty reclassified or a 2025 point guard to provide some sort of depth and insurance behind Christian Anderson if he doesn't acclimate immediately to the full-time point guard spot, which I think he will. So some of the questions I've had about them have been answered. So I feel good about 10. I don't have a problem with GP having them at 7. I think that 6, 7 through 13 can kind of be thrown in any sort of order you want.
I think that's fair. Before we get to the non-con schedule and do a little regular season win total, which I'm very excited for you to play. Parrish isn't here to defend himself. Let's have you praise him or kill him. What do you like? What do you not like about the guy's rankings?
St. John's at 1 feels incredibly aggressive.
More aggressive than Tech at 3 in the middle of April?
Given that I settled with Tech at 10 and I feel good about it, now that everything's settled and he's still at St. John's at 1, feels a little over the top.
I like that he's zagging, man. I like that there's not.
I do too.
I do.
I don't think there's really consensus 1 period. Like
there's not, but it's going to be either Purdue or Houston when the AP Top 25 comes out in October. We know it's going to be one of those 2
I agree with that. My issues aside, I do like that he's BYU 3, by the way. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I like that he's taking that leap with them because I think their ceiling is maybe higher than anyone in the country. And so I like that he's leaning high. My other issues with his Louisville at 15 is, I don't want to say farcical, but it's
use the word, say it.
It's not great. It's an incredibly talented team. And I don't know. I mean, he's taking leaps of faith with other teams that are made up almost entirely of transfers. St. John's, other teams.
Do you have the? Did you get sent the Kelsey glasses?
Yeah, my 2-year-old.
I might wear these. I might wear these.
Dude, my 2-year-old wears them.
I'm doing the Louisville shoot around. I might wear them for the whole thing.
You should. Dude, my daughter just wears them constantly.
Does she really?
Shows up and like starts posing in them. I'm all right. Yeah, no, so like I think Louisville, he has them way too low. I think Michigan State and Oregon are too high. I don't have them ranked. He has them like 16 and 17. I'm not entirely into that, but yeah,
Okay.
Louisville would be my sticking point with him.
Okay, fair enough. I'll have him return the favor at some point as well. Let's get to the non-con schedule and everything in general.
Let me bring up their schedule.
I sent it to you, so you're well prepared. I'm going to give you the rundown. In fact, not only am I going to give you a rundown, I guess what I'm doing. I'm doing a little music backdrop here. Let's do this here. Oh, there we go. Give me a little jam. This is the Texas Tech 2025-26 non-conference schedule. Games of note: November 11th at Illinois. I like that. November 20 and 21, Baha Mar tournament, 4-team MTE. They're going to open with Wake Forest, and then they will either play Purdue or Memphis. That's actually got a good chance of being two good opponents, regardless of win-loss overall by the end of the season. We'll see what happens with Memphis there. LSU in Fort Worth is on December 7th. They've got Arkansas. Yes, they've got a rematch with their Sweet 16 game. That's going to be in Dallas on December 13th. And then they get Duke in MSG on December 20th. That's a really tasty matchup, and I felt it was pretty creative.
You know what else is that day? Not to stray off Texas Tech. Arkansas, Houston at Barclays.
That's right. Big day. I mean, December's loaded. Like the back-to-back weekends are just insane.
I'm just saying 3 schools that we never see in New York.
That's true.
Playing. I'm fired up. Duke we always see in New York, but that's beside the point.
Isn't that also that's CBS Sports?
There's a bunch of good games. I'm just looking at myself from a selfish perspective.
Yeah, I gotcha. Big 12 schedule, I think, will be released in about 2 weeks. I checked in on a source. They have not determined everything yet. They're still working on it. Couple hang-ups with just certain dates, and we'll be home in this arena there, yada yada. The league is going back to an 18-gamer after having its one and only 20-game slate last season. So Texas Tech gets 2 plays with BYU, like to see it. Houston, love to see it, and then Colorado, see what they are. Home only, Borzello.
You don't love to see it? It feels bad. Tad Boyle is going to call you.
No, I'm just saying.
You're so fired up about
Colorado
BYU
and Tech doing a play is not going to get. It's not getting the juices flowing. What do you want from me? You fired up? You fired up for Buffs Raiders on a Tuesday night at 9:30?
I gotta go to Orange Theory the next day that you made fun of me for, so I'm not gonna watch that one. You miss it. Sit it out.
Home only for the Red Raiders. Cincinnati, Kansas, don't have to go to Fog Island. K-State, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Utah. And road only, they don't get to host. They have to go to Arizona, Arizona State, Baylor, UCF, Iowa State, and West Virginia. All told, how many regular season wins for Grant McCaslin's team next season, Borzello? How many do they have going into the Big 12 tournament? 31-game schedule.
All right. Well, I'm looking at how many games I think they'll lose.
Yeah, that's how Parrish does. He works backwards.
2. Well, because I don't know every game they're playing, so I just.
You assume the buys are wins.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Split 5, 6, 7. 31-game schedule.
That's correct. For one more year, we'll be at 32 the season after this upcoming one.
20. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go 23.
23 and 8?
Yeah, it feels. I kind of liked when 24 and 7 sounds so much more of where I would like to have them.
Big 12 is going to be better, right? 24 and 7 is a tall task. Without a certainty at point guard.
On the road at Illinois, it's going to be tough. Both teams are kind of working in some guys. Let's say, right. So then Purdue,
they could lose to Purdue if they get them.
Yeah, I think they'll beat Wake, and I think they'll lose to Purdue. Arkansas in Dallas and Duke at MSG. I have those 3 teams like 10, 11, and 12. Yeah. So I think let's say they split. That's 3 non-con losses.
Yep.
And then I think they split BYU and Houston. That's 5.
That's 5.
And then we're getting to the road,
and it's off at least twice on the road.
Right, Arizona, Iowa State, Baylor. I think. Well, I guess I'll say they'll lose at Arizona, Iowa State. That gives me 7 losses, or 24 and 7. There's going to be some random game, I think, where they slip up, and so especially in the Big 12. So that leads me to 8. So I say 23 and 8 is what I will go with.
I'm going 22 and 9. I'm going 22 and 9 because I don't think when I do my top 101 teams,
you're not high on this team. You're not high on Texas. I can tell.
I guess not. That's fine. This also happens every, as you well know. You've listened to every Eye on College Basketball over the past 10 years minimum.
My rotation.
I tend to fade more than I buy at this stage of the season. And I'll talk myself into it. I just think the Big 12 will be better next season, and that's a challenging non-con. I want to see how these pieces work. I think Tech will get in and be a
Get in.
4 seed.
They'll get in. I think they'll get in.
The
Wow.
tournament, Borzello.
Wow.
Got them in. No, I'm saying I think they'll get in and they'll be a 4 seed, 5 seed. I think that's where they wind up. For me, 22-9, win 2 in the Big 12 tournament, and they're 24-10 heading into Selection Sunday. That's my guess on them overall. But this is always a fun little
22-9. By the way, if like 6 years ago, that sounds like such a middling record. Now every team plays like 5 marquee non-conference games.
I know.
So and then they play 112 conference games. So 9 losses is no longer
floated up.
Yeah, it's the worst thing in the world. But 22-9 just seems low.
I don't disagree. I was wrestling with 23-8 or 22-9, and ultimately I said
when you rank them like 27 in your top one in your 1 through 361 rankings.
I know that's a thing. I honestly can't see myself putting Tech lower than like 16 or 17. That'll be the floor for me.
That's fair. I think I have like UCLA and Illinois at 15, 16, and that I don't think you could put them below them. Maybe you can.
I think I have to have UCLA ahead of Tech. I think, but I don't know. I haven't dove into it yet. No.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Before we get out of here, we've got like a month to go before NFL season starts. Just curious, how many drafts have you already done? How many leagues, if you're comfortable saying on the record, how many fantasy leagues are you scheduled to be in this year, and how many drafts have you done?
I've added 1 league, so I'm at 18 now. I've done
ridiculous.
6,
18 leagues.
7. Yeah, and I don't lose money. There was another false accusation you made.
I'm going to need the receipts on that one, buddy.
My tax returns account for every cent I've.
Do they?
Absolutely not. No. Yeah. No. I need every year. I say I'm going to cut back, and I just don't. I am adding one. I'll add. Throw an eye on college basketball one. I'll join it. I'll run it.
You want us to start our own fantasy football league?
Yeah. All the guests from the Summer Shootaround. GP doesn't. It's not dialed into fantasy.
He's not dialed. I think he's got football. He's never been a huge NFL fan. So
he also flies every Sunday to New York.
Should we do a 12-team college basketball media fantasy league?
I hate to break it to you, the group chat that you left several years ago has one.
That's not what I'm talking about.
What you want basically the old CBS crew and then
mix it up. Yeah. But it's got to be it's got to be auction draft. The snake stuff, the fact that snake drafts are still
the group chat you left, we have an auction keeper.
It's auction or bust. The snakes
I agree.
are terrible. Terrible.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. If you're still doing fantasy anything and still doing snake drafts in 2025, please update your life. Jeff Borzello.
Except rookie drafts and dynasty, those should be snake.
I'm open to hearing a case. Jeff Borzello, you can find him. You can find him on Instagram, where he never posts about college basketball. You can find him on Twitter /
my Chelsea takes. Yes.
You can find him on Twitter /X, where he sometimes posts about college basketball, but will give way more updates on Chelsea. You can find him on Blue Sky, where he has never posted once.
You said when I joined, you said no cross posting, or I'm going to kick you off whatever list you had.
That's not true.
And so you did, and so I never cross posted, and I forgot about Blue Sky.
Drop.
I'm still on there. I'm dialed. I'm gonna dial back in. Don't worry.
You got to dial in. You got to lock in. Okay. Maybe you save all your fantasy posts for.
There's gonna be some sort of X doomsday in mid-November where everyone's gonna scurry back to Blue Sky.
Scurry. Come on.
You and the 12 people that have been.
It's thriving.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate you joining the pod, buddy. Thank you so much. We'll meet up again soon, and thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me back, man.
All right, there we go. He had to say goodbye before I actually wrap the pod formally here. That was Texas Tech. We got another show coming up in just 2 days, so keep on the lookout. And again, bid on those bonus auction items if you have not already. The auctions end, 3 of them on August 14th. We'll talk to you soon.